Boom! Hey y'all, it's Simon the Speaker here again, your guide to cleaning business success. Today so I'm actually getting ready to go to the gym, but I wanted to talk about something. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a quick video. Even I'm gonna try to keep it quick. I gotta make it because, like I said, if you see my last video, you know, like I can really talk, chatty patty. But yes, I'm gonna try to make a quick video today, just so I can drop this video to you guys. So the video is pretty much about. So you guys know, I keep thinking, for some reason I thought the webcam was this way, was this way. You guys know that I teach you guys about the remote cleaning business model, right? But in my other videos, there's a couple things that I talk about, right? I say it's a middleman business, so you can do this with other services or a remote house service or home service business model, right? So pretty much what that means is that if this model doesn't only pertain to cleaning, it could be done with different services as well. I just want to make a quick video and talk about that because I think people may think I'm cap or like I'm just saying that to say that, right? Or maybe they don't think that, right? And maybe in general, I just want to show you guys simply like, hey, like this can be done with other services, right? So really, I'm not going to sit there and go through a list of services. I'll make a different video for that, like a list of services that, you know, you could use. But what I want to talk about is actually how you can apply this to other services, right? And I'm going to pretty much talk about once again, a strategy and a framework for this, right? So because I'm about to go to the gym, gotta get this show on the road, we're gonna go straight into this, right? So with this type of business model, the middleman model, right, I said you could do this with any type of service. Why can you do this with any type of service, right? And another thing is because it's digital, it's all remote. Well, because it's remote, it's pretty much digital, right? It's like a digital service business, right? So let's talk about the strategy, right? The strategy for this. The two things I want to talk about, right? The first thing I want to talk about is because it is a remote business, right? And you can do this remote. This is like a digital service business. And the reason I call it a digital service business is not because the service that you're offering is digital. It can be, and we'll go into that, but because you do everything from online, right? As the middleman business, all you're doing is setting up your online storefront so that clients can get in touch with you, right? So the strategy for this, first, it's remote. Second is we are the middleman, right? We become the middleman. And what is our goal as the middleman? So our only goal is to sell. So we'll sell the service. We sell the service. Wow, I just realized. I guess so. See, that's what I mean getting so passionate. I didn't even have my board up. We sell the service, right? So we sell the service and we outsource the work. This happened in my last video. We sell the service and we outsource the work and we manage the quality. And we manage the quality. So I want you to, this is the main strategy of the actual business. It's remote, so it's digital, right? We just need the online storefront. I'm going to put online storefront. And what we're doing as the middleman is we're selling the service, outsourcing the work, and managing the quality. So this goes back to what I said. It doesn't have to be cleaning, right? It could be, maybe you like doing branding, right? In terms of, maybe like building websites or making logos. What you can do is sell the service and outsource the work and manage the quality, right? So you could do that with anything. And I talk about this in my last video. You can do that with pool cleaning, window cleaning, junk removal. That's home service, right? You can even do this with other businesses, right? Because I usually talk about home service, but this could be anything else. You can have a logo design company where you outsource the work. You can have a web development company where you outsource the work, right? A social media management company where you outsource the work, right? So we're going to talk about that, but this is the main strategy behind this business. This is why it can be done with technically any service, right? That's why I said a digital service business. You have your online storefront. All you're doing is selling the service, outsourcing the work, and managing the quality. So when we look at that, right, so at that point it becomes, now that we understand the strategy of it, right, we understand what the core method of this business model is, what is the framework behind this, right? What is the framework that we're working with, right? And this we can say, we'll say step by step, actually. I'm going to try to put it in order, but for the sake of time, I am just going to I'm just going to try to keep talking, right? So, what is the framework, right? So, the first step-by-step framework, what are we doing? What we're doing is focusing on a niche. We need to focus on a niche. Focus on a niche, right? So let's say we're gonna do branding. Is that gonna be logo design, right? Is that gonna be web development? Like I said, is that gonna be social media management, right? What can we outsource efficiently, and what can we manage the quality of in the most effective manner? Not to say that you can't try something challenging, but understand because you're doing a middleman model, it would be better for you to pick a niche where there's demand and you can efficiently outsource this demand to someone that can do it at a high quality. You don't want to pick a niche in which to outsource it. You're not going to be really able to find nobody. You're going to have to go to the depths of the earth to find somebody that can actually get things done. And because it's a limited amount of talent within that industry, now they charge you an outrageous price, right? You want to find a niche that makes sense, something manageable, right? Something manageable, something that you can outsource efficiently. When it comes to managing the quality of it, right? Something where you can sit there and manage that quality. For example, logo design. If you're doing logo design, someone tells you they want a revision. All you have to do is take the revision and give it back to the service provider and for them to make the revision. Right? That's pretty simple. That doesn't take anything crazy. So we want to focus on a niche, right? After that, right? We want to systemize. Quick framework. We want to systemize the quality, right? Want to systemize the quality. Systemize the quality of how we offer this service. What is our process? I'll even put like a sales process. What is our process? When a client inquires about a service, or if a client inquires about web design, what is our process from the moment they inquire to even after the service is done? How is our delivery process, right? Do we have a system that is so good clients would be willing to refer us and use us for repeat business? We need a system that good that clients would be willing to refer us and use it for repeat business. Come from top to bottom, we have a quality system in place. Next, because it is a middleman business, right? What you want to do is try to start lean. Now, the thing I like about the whole middleman business, or right, that business model, you don't need an office, right? Everything's digital, so you can do everything from your laptop. You don't need an office. You don't need a bunch of supplies. You probably need phone, email, website, obviously business foundation, LLC, EIN, logo. So with that being said, you don't need thousands of dollars to start this, right? And with that being said, don't force yourself to spend extra money to try to create this extravagant branding experience. What you really want, branding is important. Don't get me wrong, right? Branding is important, but when you're starting, start lean and just focus on the quality of the service. Focus on the quality of the service and not overspending. Don't focus. Start leaning. Like I said, when I first started, I had like the phone number. I didn't even have. I had something. I use a software now to manage my data, but at the time I was using like Google Sheets. And it was working, right? Start lean. You're a middleman. You don't need office supplies, this and that. Just have the necessary items in place in which a client feels comfortable enough to call you and inquire about getting services done. I'm not saying have for lack of better words, I don't want to say shitty. I guess I already said. Don't have a shitty website. I'm not saying I have a shitty website, but like, don't sit there and spend thousands of dollars. It's not your time. You're in the initial phase. Just worry about setting up a good, solid online storefront. The next thing you want to do is price strategically. I put 3. I meant to put 4. Price strategically. Yeah, I think I did. But price strategically. Research competition. So while you're doing that, right, you want to research the competition, see what everybody is charging. See what everyone is charging around. I'm not saying copy the exact price, but see what certain services are going for. What's the lowest someone is charging? What's the highest someone is charging, right? You gotta see what the competition is charging, so you at least know your pricing is you have the correct pricing, right? If everybody is charging $200 to $300, let's say for website development, right? Let's say for the basic package is $200 to $300. You know, I'm not saying you can't charge a $2,000 basic web package, but understand that you're gonna have to be looking for a certain clientele. You may not get that one yes. You may get a lot of no's before you get that yes. And with this model, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make, I don't want to say we're trying to make quick money, but because it's a middleman model, you should be able to bring in some revenue fairly quickly. Another thing we want to focus on, right? We want to focus on making 2 to 4x what we're paying our service provider. We want to make sure that we're making 2 to 4x, or we're charging actually. $2x to $4x what we pay for labor. So for the most part, right, and this is just general advice. You technically you don't have to go with this advice, but it's up to you. I know sometimes when people they charge a little cheaper up front. But what we want to do is if we're getting charged $100 for, let's say, a 1-1, right? You want to at least charge, maybe because it's a 1-1, try to get $200 out that client, so you can get 2x, right? Or maybe if it's a deep clean with extra like add-ons, right? Because if you add add-ons, you can raise the price. Maybe I've gotten over $300 for a 1-1 because of add-ons, where the cleaner only charged me $125, almost 3x what I'm paying in labor. To try to see if we can make 2x to 4x. Now, granted, like I said, that's what cleaning. Remember, the main point of this video is all of this advice can apply to any service. A lot of times I talk about home service, but even now we're talking about web development and logos, right? It doesn't have to be just home service. This framework and this initial strategy can apply to almost any service for the most part, right? So we can apply it to any service as well, right? So with that being said, what we want, we're looking for high margins. I would say depending on the industry, right? You want to aim for 50 to 60% margins. 50 to 60%. What do I mean by that? By the time you finish paying out the cleaner, just the cleaner, you want to see not the cleaner. I remember I was saying the remote cleaning business. By the time you finish paying out the service provider, you want to know that you have kept 50 to 60% of the leftover revenue. $50 to 60% margins, you want to make sure that you are keeping 50 to 60% of the leftover revenue, which is why you sometimes need to charge 2 to 4x, right? Going back to 2x. I keep wanting to go back to the cleaning, the remote cleaning. If a service provider charge me $100, right, and I charge a client $200, I'm then keeping 50% of the leftover of the revenue. So you want to actually 50 to 6% of revenue we keep. I'm going to reword that. Right? So we keep 50 to 60% of the revenue. I've had times where I've kept as high as 70 to 80%. So it is possible, right? It is possible. So we want to price strategically. We want to make sure that we're actually researching the competition to see what the pricing is like. Charge 2 to 4x what we would pay for labor with the hopes of keeping 50 to 60% of the revenue. What number? The L4. So let's go to 5. All right, I'm getting this out here so I can head over to the gym. Health is real wealth, right? Health is real wealth. So from there, we'll also, another thing we want to do, right? You want to build a network, build a fulfillment network. What do I mean by this? You want to have a pool of service providers you can use, right? So if something happens and maybe your main service provider that you like to use cannot do the job, or something happened, or maybe they're not working anymore, then you have a pool of other providers that you can get in touch with to get the job done, right? And what you want to make sure that you're doing, and I talk about this, I might have to put this in every video, make sure you are vetting your service providers. You need to do a quality control vetting process, making sure the quality is up to par. I said this in my last video too. The quality of their service will determine your branding. You can have all these cool colors, logos, LLC name, whatever. But if the people that are providing the service suck, none of it matters, right? It will all go to waste. You need to make sure the people that are actually providing your service are very good. Now, for example, and this is what I mean by this, this model can work with any other service. I usually give some additional information where you can find service providers for like the cleaning niche. For example, let's say we're talking about logo design or website development. Easy, Upwork, Fiverr. Just right there. Upwork and Fiverr are two places that you can get service providers for logo and web development. Logo creation and web development. See, and that's what I mean. As long as you can find, and that's why I said this model can really work with any service. As long as you can find a client that's in need, demand, and someone that can provide the service, supply, you're good. You're good. That actually goes to my next point, but just want to reiterate, make sure you got a pool of service providers you can use, and then vet the service providers. But this also leads to my next point. All you have to do is set up online infrastructure. For those that don't know, before I make these videos, I actually create my own notes that I have here, and then from there I talk to you guys and input the notes and add my own knowledge to the notes as well. Set up online infrastructure, website, Google My Business profile, email, phone number, right? Stripe, Square, to charge your clients. And that's the beauty. All of this can be done digitally. Right? So all we're doing is setting up that online infrastructure. How can people get in contact with us? How can people see what we do and who we are and learn about us, right? How can people leave us reviews at Google My Business? How can people contact us? They can email or call us. How are we charging the clients? Square or Stripe. I'm going to even add in a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system. For us in the cleaning industry, we use Booking Koala. Booking Koala actually is starting, not starting, but I think they actually have it where their platform is not only for cleaning, you can use their platform for other services. So you can still use Booking Koala if you would like. I'm going to actually add that just for those that may want to do something else. Booking Koala. You can still use Booking Koala. But the point is, you need to have that online infrastructure in which you can take clients' information, schedule, assign it to the service provider, charge the client, and do a follow-up after, maybe even some reminders. So we want to set up that online infrastructure as well. And then last but not least, we want to manage the delivery / quality. So that is the next thing we do. We are what I like to call a quality gatekeeper. We receive the client requirements. We relay it to the providers, to the service providers. We review the final deliverables, right? And then we let it deliver to a client. See, that's different with a cleaning. That's different with the obviously the cleaning industry. But the point of this video is not about cleaning. The point of this video is that you could do this with any other service. Going back to logo design or web development, right? We'll check the quality. We'll see what the client wants. We'll pass it off to the provider, and we'll check and see if it is correct. If the client wants any revision, they will let us know, and then we will have them revise the actual work. We'll have them revise the actual work. So I just wanted to make that quick video. I'm actually getting ready to go to the gym. Health is wealth. Once again, I forgot to say it because I was trying to get this video off. Please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thumbs up if you think I offer value or think I put effort into offering some value. I drop my videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. I'll be dropping my link soon. So do a one-on-one. I think YouTube just has to verify me, but we can do one-on-ones. I am also dropping my remote cleaning business ebook. That will be in the description of this video as well, or the description of the upcoming videos. But nonetheless, the reason I bring, like I said, I bring this up is because I want to show that this business model, this middleman business model, it can work with any service, really, right? You do want to be, going back to focus on a niche, you do want to be mindful of a niche that will allow you to have a pool of service providers you can use, and where there is demand within the market, right? So there is demand for cleaning. There's demand for logo designing, web development. There's demand for pool cleaning because people have pools and windows, right? So you want to just make sure that whatever you're picking, right, it's a demand in the market, and it is enough supply in which you can actually have a pool of suppliers or service providers to be able to get the job done. You know, by having the right pricing structure, you can price the client correctly, and then from there, you'll be good to go, honestly, right? Obviously, you need systems in place to be able to make this work effectively, and that's a whole different conversation, right? Because the systems that you'll need in this business model, well, the system that you need depending on the niche, right? Certain systems may change if it's cleaning versus logo designing and web development. But beyond that, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a good one.